Have you ever felt like your marriage has a few too many managers? You know, that endless cycle of advice from parents that feels more like a set of instructions? Or that feeling when your spouse just can't seem to say no to their family? Well, it turns out a lot of these common frustrations actually come from the very same place. And today, we're going to unpack exactly what that is. So let's see if this rings a bell. The daily check-in call from your mother-in-law. It starts out sweet enough, right? What are you guys having for dinner? But then it somehow turns into a full-blown critique of your cooking or your kid's schedule. It's supposed to feel like caring, but honestly, it can feel a little bit like you're under surveillance. And hey, let's be fair, this is not just an in-law thing. It could totally be your own mom who pops over to help out, only for you to find that the organic baby food you spent ages researching has been swapped out for the brand she used. It comes from a place of love, sure, but it also sends a message that your choices aren't quite good enough. And then, here's the kicker. When you finally bring it up, your spouse hits you with that classic line, "Oh, come on, they're just trying to help," or "They're only doing it for our own good." And that can leave you feeling totally alone, like maybe you're the one who's overreacting. If you're sitting there nodding your head right now, you might think the problem is just overbearing parents or a spouse who needs to grow a spine. But the thing is, psychology tells us this issue is much deeper, more structural, and it actually has a name. The real problem here is something called blurred boundaries. And what's so powerful about this idea is that it stops us from just blaming people. It's not about your mother-in-law having bad intentions. It's about the invisible lines between your new family and your old one being, well, practically non-existent. So what does that mean, blurred boundaries? It's when that sharp line that should separate you and your partner as your own family unit gets all fuzzy. Your parents don't see your marriage as a separate home. They see it as like a new branch of their own home. And so they just keep playing that old caregiver role with your spouse stuck in the dependent role. And you can really see the difference here. With a healthy boundary, parents might give some advice, totally fine. But the couple, together, makes the final call. They're the leadership team. With a blurred boundary, though, that advice feels more like a command. One spouse ends up following their parents' lead, and the partnership itself gets sidelined. Here's a really simple way to put it. The parents haven't finished the job of psychological weaning. They haven't fully let go of their kid. And on the flip side, the adult child hasn't finished their job of psychological separation to really, truly bond with their new partner. It's like everyone's stuck playing roles from 20 years ago. So why does this even happen? Why do parents continue to overstep, and why do adult children kind of let them? Let's dig into the psychology of it. It usually boils down to three big things: the parent's own anxiety, the habits the adult child learned growing up, and a really messy communication pattern that we call triangulation. Let's break those down. Okay, first up, empty nest anxiety. I mean, think about it. For decades, your parents' main job was raising you. Once you're grown and married, that can leave a huge void, a real feeling of, what's my purpose now? So interfering in your marriage, it's not always about control. Sometimes it's just a way to feel needed, to feel important again. It's how they're coping. Second, we've got learned dependence. This one's on the adult child. If your parents always made the big decisions for you, it becomes a reflex. And this can get even trickier with cultural ideas about respecting your elders, where saying no to a parent just feels wrong. So when a problem pops up in the marriage, the first instinct isn't to turn to your partner. It's to call mom and dad, leaving your spouse completely out of the loop. And that leads us right to number 3, triangulation. This is a classic but destructive pattern. Instead of you and your spouse working through a problem, one of you pulls in a parent. And all of a sudden, it's not a one-on-one issue anymore. It's your partner and their parent versus you. You literally become an outsider in your own marriage. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, yeah, it's annoying, but we get by. But here's the thing. Research is really clear on this. When you let blurred boundaries go on, it's not just annoying. It's actually destructive. The long-term damage is huge. First, your own relationship gets hollowed out. You stop being the ones in charge of your own life. Second, it guarantees constant conflict. The whole setup is just built for fighting. And worst of all, it messes with your kids. They get stuck in the middle, trying to please everybody, and then they learn these same unhealthy patterns for their own lives. The cycle just continues. Okay, that was a lot of bad news. But here is the good news. This is totally fixable. This isn't about cutting your family off. It's about building healthier, clearer lines.
So let's talk about how you can actually start building those boundaries. There are really 4 key steps. 1, you have to form a couple alliance. You and your partner decide together that you two are team number 1. 2, use the sandwich method. When a parent steps over the line, you two talk about it privately first, get on the same page, and then respond as a united front. 3, learn how to use I statements to say no without starting a war. And 4, help your parents find new, healthy ways to feel needed and valued. So what does an I statement actually sound like? Well, instead of saying, "Stop telling us what to do," try this. "Mom, I know you really want to help, and we appreciate it, but we've decided we're going to handle this one ourselves. We really want to try doing it our own way." See how that works? You acknowledge their good intention, you state your decision clearly, and you assert your independence as a couple. It's so respectful, but it's also incredibly firm. And this all points to the most important mental shift you have to make. The goal of setting boundaries isn't to start a fight with your parents. The goal is to protect the new family, the new life that you are trying to build. When it comes right down to it, everybody has a job to do here. Parents have to do the very hard work of learning to let go. Adult children have to do the work of separating and becoming their own person. And the couple, together, has to focus on the job of building their own nest. If you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this. Boundaries are a defensive tool, not a weapon. They're like the walls around your house. They aren't there to keep people out, they're there to keep your home safe and sound, so you can thrive inside it. And when those walls are in the right place, something really amazing happens. Your parents actually feel more respected because they know where the lines are. Your spouse feels safe and secure because they know they're your number one. And you finally get to stop being torn in two between being a child and being a partner. So, we'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. We're often taught that being a good son or daughter means being obedient. But what if the greatest form of respect you could ever show your parents is to build a happy, successful life on your own 2 feet and let them have the pride of watching you do it? What if that's the real gift?